Hey you guys, today we're going to be breaking down both the Hyper Hammer and Drill Punch form changes. These form changes are associated with Strike form and are triggered by using the favorite deputy Keyblade. Are we breaking down Hyper Hammer first? The Hyper Hammer transformation starts with Sora whipping the Keyblade around his head. You can actually see the cactus move around during this. The Keyblade shines brightly, then Sora whips the Keyblade around again. This part right here, which is the Space Ranger emblem from Toy Story, spins and grows larger. The cactus grows smaller as a rocket appears from a beam of light. At first I thought the rocket came from the star that was connected to the cactus, but here we can see that both stars are visible at the same time. The rocket spins around Sora twice before it comes back to the Keyblade. When the rocket moves in front of the camera, you can actually see it reflecting back whatever is in front of it. I thought this was a really nice touch. Also, the wings on the rocket here have a similar design to Buzz Lightyear's wings. When the rocket comes close to the Keyblade, the cactus shoots up and catches it as the handle of the Keyblade stretches down into a pole. We know this because the handle of the Keyblade has the same look as the pole of the hammer. When the rocket connects to the cactus, the sheriff stars on the sides of the rocket spin. The rocket and cactus get smaller at the end of the transformation. We see on the bottom of the pole a purple pointed part, which I believe is this part here of the Keyblade. During the transformation, enemies around Sora will be pulled up into the air and will be hit by the rocket. The logo shows the words Hyper Hammer and has the Sheriff Star as well as the Space Ranger emblem on it. The hammer on the logo will occasionally swing down, causing the words and star to bounce upwards. The star spins during the bounce and a white glimmer shines across the letters. The ground combo for Hyper Hammer starts with Sora slamming the hammer down on the ground in front of him, cracking it. This creates a small shockwave as well. Sora uses the rocket to boost his hammer towards the ground, making it hit harder. The second attack has Sora spinning around with his hammer outstretched, hitting enemies in range. Again, Sora uses the rocket to boost himself, spinning Sora around faster. Actually, every attack is boosted, so I won't point it out for the rest of them. This spinning attack also triggers when there are multiple enemies around Sora. The next attack has Sora smashing the hammer in front of him and behind himself. These generate small cracks and shockwaves. Sora then slides forward, dragging the hammer against the ground and swinging upwards. This attack also triggers if an enemy is far away from Sora. If an enemy is above Sora, he will use this same attack to slide up to the enemy. For the combo finisher, Sora makes the hammer grow bigger before slamming it down on the ground. This creates giant cracks in the ground. These cracks can actually hit enemies into the air. The air combo is practically the same as the ground combo, except that instead of slamming the hammer against the ground, Sora spins in the air with the hammer. Because it is so similar, I don't really feel the need to break it down. The combo finisher has Sora making the hammer bigger and swinging it downwards just like the ground combo. If you are above the enemy, Sora will do a ground pound attack similar to the first hit of the combo. This one though has Sora doing a quick flip as he smashes his hammer downwards. There is a huge shockwave as well as cracks that form on the ground. This is the same attack as the flow motion attack you can do in Hyper Hammer. Instead of the normal ground pound with flow motion, Sora will slam down with a hammer. Magic while in this form change is changed to an AoE style of magic. The higher the tier of magic, the bigger the AoE magic will be. Fire pushes out a shockwave of fire around Sora, and a number of fireballs will circle around Sora depending on the tier cast. The first tier will have 2 fireballs circle around Sora. The second tier will have 4, the third will have 6, and the fourth tier, Firaza, will have 8. Fire rod casts and above will burn the ground, but the normal fire will leave the floor unaffected. Also, energy arcs up from the ground during the Firaza cast. Water magic starts with the first tier spawning 2 streams of water around Sora. Every cast of magic makes water ripple out over the ground. The second tier has Sora making a dome of water that pushes outwards. There are still 2 streams of water though during this cast, like the first tier. The third tier has Sora generating a bigger dome of water and spawning 4 streams of water around himself. The fourth tier has Sora creating a whirlpool around himself as 4 streams of water circle around him. Blizzard starts with Sora creating a barrier of ice around himself as 2 casts of ice circle around him. Ice also coats the ground during this attack. The second and third tiers of this attack are pretty much the same, except that the higher the cast of Blizzard, the larger the barrier of ice is, the larger the casts of Blizzard are, and the larger the reach of ice coating the ground has. The grand magic of Blizzard is pretty much the same, with everything being bigger and having a larger reach, but 6 casts of Blizzard circle around Sora instead of 2. The first tier of Thunder has Sora creating a spark that circles around him, as well as a ball of energy that spawns at the center of his body and shoots out lightning. There's also a golden ring that spawns on the floor beneath Sora. The spark and golden circle will have a larger area of effect the higher the tier cast. During the second tier, a dark orb surrounds Sora and shoots out bolts of energy. On the third tier, you will spawn the dark orb, which you can see here, but energy also arcs down from above Sora. Lightning covers the ground during this cast as well. The grand magic for Thunder is insane. Sora calls down lightning that circles around him as a ring closes in around Sora. When the ring reaches Sora, a giant beam of lightning comes down and lightning spreads out across the floor as pieces of the ground fly up. Arrow is pretty simple. Air surrounds Sora as two condensed casts of air circle him. The second tier increases the range of the air and adds two more casts that circle around Sora. Small pieces of rocks are pulled up into the air for the second tier upwards. The third tier again increases the range and adds two more casts to circle Sora. The fourth tier creates a whirlwind around Sora as multiple casts of arrow fly around him. Let's look at the blocking and movement tech associated with Hyper Hammer. Blocking has Sora holding the hammer in front of himself with both hands on the pole. This blocking animation looks extremely similar to Sora's blocking animation in Dream Drop Distance. Sora's dodge roll is changed to a dash while on the ground, but his air dodge does not seem to be affected. The double flight animation seems slightly changed, with Sora holding his hammer behind him, looking as if he is ready to slam it down. The idle animation has Sora crouched in a ready position as he looks to his right and then his left before returning to his crouch position. Anyways, I think that is all I have for Hyper Hammer. Let's move on to Drill Punch. The Drill Punch transformation starts with the Rocket and Space Ranger emblems spinning and glowing with a bright light. The rocket moves to Sora's hand and the Sheriff's Star again spins as the jets and rocket condense. Wings push out from the middle of the rocket arm as the top of the rocket stretches upwards and the claws of the drill form out of the thin air. An arrow-like effect as well as yellow and white orbs form around Sora as the spinning claws form and move close to the rocket arm. A bright light shines as the claws come together and fuse with the rocket. It is still spinning as Sora brings it down in front of him. Beams of light shoot out of the drill and then it shrinks down to its normal size. The logo for Drill Punch has the Sheriff's Star bouncing against the words Drill Punch. Occasionally, a white glimmer will go across the words. Let's look at the combat for Drill Punch. Just like Hyper Hammer, the drill is boosted during each attack. The ground combo for Drill Punch starts with Sora spinning and increasing the size of his drill before dashing forward. Orange and yellow lights swirl around the drill as you dash forward, and green orbs, sparks, and blue sparkles trail behind Sora. He actually spins with the drill during this attack. This is also the attack used if the enemy is far away from Sora. The next attack has Sora doing a front flip and slamming the drill into the ground, creating cracks. This creates a shockwave and a whirlwind is formed. The cracks in the ground are similar to the hammer's cracks, except that the drill seems to twist the cracks, making them look like they are spinning outwards. Sora then does another spinning dash, but angles down, scraping against the ground before swiping upwards. Sora then does another ground pound, but twists in the air instead of flipping this time. The shockwave seems to be bigger with his second ground pound. This is the attack Sora uses if he is above an enemy. For the combo finisher, Sora dives under the ground and emerges with a gigantic spinning drill. This creates another shockwave and whirlwind as well as swirling cracks in the ground. The ground pound attack also triggers if you are surrounded by enemies, and if you are still surrounded by enemies by the time you get to the combo finisher, you'll trigger a different attack. This one has Sora calling up multiple drills from the ground to attack enemies. The air combo starts with the same attack as the ground combo. Sora spins forward with a giant drill rush. The second attack is the same as the dashing uppercut attack on the ground. Sora then does another drill dash followed by another uppercut. The combo finisher has Sora making the drill bigger and dashing forward. This is pretty much the dash attack at the beginning of the combo, just on a larger scale. The only other attack Sora has is if there is an enemy above Sora. Sora will shoot upwards with his drill pointed diagonally. The magic for Drill Punch is the same as the Magic Castle and the Magic Launcher Formchange, an orb that explodes on impact. The higher the tier of magic, the bigger the orb and the bigger the explosion is when it hits. The fourth tier has a different color orb usually when cast, and usually triggers the normal grand magic attack used in base form. The only difference though is that the magic doesn't trigger until the orb hits something. The drill also seems to spin faster during grand magic casts and magic finishers. I like how the orb's makeup changes depending on the tier cast. It's a nice touch. Guarding while in Drill Punch has Sora spinning and holding the drill in front of him. If a hit connects, Sora will hold up his other hand against the drill. Double flight and air dodge are not changed by Drill Punch. Dodging while on the ground will have Sora dig under the ground and come back up, attacking with his drill. The idle animation has Sora looking around himself before crouching and getting into a ready stance. The max shot lock for this Keyblade has Sora transforming into the Drill Punch form change and using what looks like corridors of light to dash at enemies. Golden light swirls around the drill and a yellow streak follows behind Sora. At the end, Sora does a flipping uppercut. The finisher has Sora changing the drill into a claw that grabs a single enemy and bashes them around. Each bash generates a shockwave and cracks the ground similar to the Hyper Hammer attacks. Sora bashes the enemy against the ground 5 times. The final bash creates giant cracks in the ground and a giant shockwave. There is a red laser-looking cord that connects the claw to Sora's drill arm. During the finisher, the logo above the command menu changes. The star spins and the drill changes to a claw and shoots out before coming back to the rocket. The claw opens and closes during the finisher. The rockets also are firing off during the finisher. And that is all I have for the breakdown. Now I want to talk about my thoughts on these form changes. I really enjoyed the Hyper Hammer form change. The sound design was really well done, making the attacks seem like they were really powerful. I didn't find myself using magic a ton though while in this form change, but the grand magic is amazing and really creative. I also just really enjoy the strike form Keyblade transformations. Being able to automatically use my finishers anywhere during a combo is great. A couple things I was a little disappointed with were the flow motion attack for Hyper Hammer and Drill Punch's magic. I really wish they would have done a unique attack for the flow motion instead of just using the ground pound. Drill Punch's magic was also a little disappointing since it shares the same type of magic as Magic Launcher. It's not a huge deal, but you get both of these Keyblades so close together, so it's a little weird to see magic animations reused so quickly. I really did not use Drill Punch a whole lot either. I think it's good, I just didn't really enjoy using it. Anyways, that is all I have for you guys today. If you enjoy, why not consider subscribing or sharing this with someone you think will like it. If you want to see my breakdown on double air guns and Magic Launcher, click the card on screen. I have a Discord server as well as a Twitter which you can get to by following the links in the description below. See you in the next video.